Okay. In just a couple of days, 74.6 million of America's students from ages 4 to 18 are going back to school. Now, don't get me wrong, school is a great place. It provides me with a good education, and I get to see my friends every day. But these school environments are full of temptations and so much peer pressure that try to draw us in and make us do what everyone else is doing. As followers of Christ, we often find ourselves in situations where it's hard to stay firm in our faith, and sometimes we feel compelled to give in to the temptations that are around us on a day-to-day basis. But Romans 12:2a tells us, "Do not be conformed to the pattern of this world." Instead, we are to be a light and show everyone the Christ in us. What we do and say reflect off of us and onto the people around us. Think about it. If we say we are Christians but do what non-believers are doing, their perception of Christ will have changed due to our actions. And they won't think there's anything special about being a Christian. And that is why we are to be Christ-like in every nature, in what we say, in what we do, and even how we react in certain situations. And one way to be Christ-like is to let our light shine for all to see. Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who's in heaven." But how exactly do you shine your light for Christ? Well, you can start with what you say. The Bible tells us what goes into someone's mouth does not defile them, but what comes out of their mouth defiles them in Matthew 15:11. Anything that comes out of our mouth should be encouraging and helpful towards others, not harsh or negative. If you're ever in a situation where you're tempted to say something pessimistic, remind yourself of this verse, which motivates you to think about what you say. "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear." Ephesians 4:29. Another way, especially with this generation of kids, is to think about what we do for fun or entertainment. These days, there are so many corrupting influences on the internet and social media. Even though your friends watch or do this certain thing, doesn't mean it's okay for you to do it as well. Because in Proverbs 15:3 it says, "The eyes of the Lord are in every place, watching the evil and the good." We have to make sure we are doing what's right in the eyes of the Lord. By doing so, we are being a good example and role model for our peers. Last but not least, you can let your light shine by loving others, care for their needs, and help to meet their needs as well. Encourage them and be patient with them. Take opportunity of free periods to talk with your friends and pray for your peers, because Philippians 2:3-4 says, "Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind. Regard one another as more important than yourselves. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others." By doing this, you are being Christ-like, as Christ also cared for the world. We read in John 3:16, a most familiar verse to all of us, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." Just as Christ shone his light when he was on this earth, we are to be a light to everyone around us. Now just one question remains. Are you going to put everything else aside and let your light shine?
Yes.